Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are 1 Degree. Our mission is to move humanity's consciousness 1 degree so that we can live in this world all together in peace, love, harmony, unity, all the good stuff. So, I am Akashic, the Ancient of Days, and this is my brother Reedy. And yeah, we got another good one for you. So, what's up, brother? Talk
How
to
you
me.
doing, man? How you doing?
And I'm immaculate, bro. I'm immaculate.
Hey, you look
How
good,
about
man.
you?
Fantastic, man. I'm having a great day. Yeah,
So you've
yeah,
had a week back from your vacation. You good now?
yeah. I'm ready for the next one. Man,
Right.
I'm retired and I live on the beach, but I
I
don't know.
love
We can talk
that.
about this vacation thing.
Well, I told you that I was going to come up with a topic for today. And the topic I want to talk about is the power that the mind has over us and the tricks it uses to manipulate us. And the reason why this topic came to my mind was about it was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, a week before you went on vacation. That Sunday before, I started a OMAD
Hmm.
fast diet. Now, for all for people who doesn't don't know what OMAD means, OMAD is an acronym for the words 1 meal a day. OMAD, 1 meal a day. So I started that to kind of reset my body, kind of detoxify myself. And so my window of eating was is I get a 2 hour window and then I fast 22 hours a day until I get to my window. Outside of my fast, I only drink tea and I drink water. That's basically it. So I started that fast that Sunday and we were shooting the Law of Rhythm. So I had started Sunday. It was Monday. We shot the video on Tuesday. Now, you people watching may not have noticed, but when I we shot that video, I was not there. My mind was in such a fog. I could barely think. This is if you look at that video again, there's probably like 3 scenes that I edited myself out speaking because I didn't even know what the heck I was talking about. I mean, what I was saying was true, but it was just so irrelevant to the law of rhythm. Like I was
Yeah.
just, I even told, you and I talked, and I was just like, man, dude, I don't know what the hell that was. Like,
It wasn't that bad.
oh, it was
It wasn't
bad. It was
that
bad. So I was in a fog. I couldn't function. My body was just all tore up, like, whatever. So then 2 days had passed, and then it was Thursday of 2 weeks ago. It was that Thursday. And then we were shooting the law of cause and effect. And then all of a sudden, something switched. That Thursday, the fog lifted, and I had total focus and total clarity. We shot that video. I was on my game. My mind was clicking. And so then we shot the law of gender on that Friday because you were leaving for vacation on Saturday.
Yeah.
By the time Friday came, I was at another level. Like even you was like, dude, that was probably my favorite video. Like I was, go back and watch the law of gender and see how focused I was and
Yeah.
how just everything was just lining up. So I started to think like, nothing changed about me except I stopped eating and I let my body fast. Nothing really changed. So what caused me to go from total fog to total focus? And then I start thinking like, man, it's the mind because nothing changed with my body. I still
Yeah.
work out every day. I still get my walk in. I still meditate. I do all those things. The only thing changed was my eating. So then I was like starting to put two and two together. I said, so my body is I mean, I didn't change anything that I did in my daily routine. I just changed my eating and it allowed me to realize that I was going through an addiction withdrawal.
Mm.
And my mind was playing a trick on me to make me think I needed something that I didn't even really need. And then once my will forced its way through the mind's temper tantrum, then everything changed. And so I was just like, you know what? Let's we're gonna talk about the trick because the mind was trying to trick me. It was trying to tell me like, you need to eat. You need to
Yeah.
eat, man. You gotta eat, man. Dude, hey, what's up? It was causing a physical reaction from a mental condition. So my body was like reacting, and I was in a fog, had a headache. I was hungry, or at least I thought I was hungry, but I really wasn't. And it was all these little tricks that the mind was trying to do to get me to give it its way. So I was like, I start me, Jay. I was like, I told you, I was like, we're gonna talk about this. So
Yeah.
I dug in my old notes on my study of the mind and in this the science of it. I started researching, and I was like, we gonna dive into this. So we're talking about what the mind does, how it tricks you spiritually and physically, and I
Hmm.
think this is gonna be a good one, bro.
Yeah, I'm
What you
excited, man.
think?
I'm excited. Yeah, I got a 5-day fast coming up next week. Remember I told you I was gonna start doing one a quarter. And I remember that first 5-day fast, I had moments where my mind was messing with me a lot. Are you okay? Are you gonna be all right? Are you gonna make it? Are you about to pass out? Just any thought. But I powered through it. It felt great. Honestly, felt great all the way through it, other than my mind messing with me about it.
Hmm.
But you said something about this topic, got me studying. I don't have all the old notes, so this is all new to me. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole of cognitive biases that, the brain tricking you into to believing certain things. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of those. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say on this subject, honestly.
I'm
I
excited to
mean,
hear what you have to say too,
I
man.
mean,
This
I
is
can
gonna be
talk about
awesome.
these cognitive biases that I got caught up in. Spotlight effect being one of them. You feel like people are paying more attention to you than they honestly are. I mean, most people are wrapped up in their own thoughts and their own self. And if you walk into a room full of people, you feel like everybody in there is looking at you, or if you're like talking, like in this video, I mean, of course they're paying attention to this, but I mean, like if you're public speaking or something, you might stumble over a word like you messed up, or you think you felt like you messed up in that video. Everybody else didn't pay as much attention to what happened as you did. We caught what you were trying to say, and I thought it went a lot better than you did, but you saw it differently.
Mm-mm. And they'll never know.
But I mean, that was one of them that I definitely have felt. I feel like people are definitely paying more attention than they probably are. I mean, people are wrapped up in themselves. Um, Bandwagon effect, fashion trends, top-rated movies. I better check this movie out. I didn't even look at anything about it. I haven't even watched the trailer. This is top-rated movie. I'm gonna watch this. That's the bandwagon effect. You know what I mean? That's your mind saying, "Oh, this is the one." Anchoring effect. You walk in and you see a retail price of $100, but it's on sale for $50. Well, you're anchored to that $100. $50 is a great deal. You know what I mean? Because it's the first information you see. Like, this is a really good deal. Like, is it? I mean, you're not really researching this. You're just going based on what they're showing you, what they're allowing
Hmm.
you to see. And our brains, they it constantly using old information and old uh, things that have happened in our past and trying to make quick decisions for us. It's like mental shortcuts. These biases are just, and there was probably times when we needed that to protect ourselves, and not us, but our ancestors. They had to worry about their survival all the time, so they had to make quick decisions, and
Hmm.
they had all these biases in that we have also, and we don't necessarily need them like they did. You know what I mean? There's a ton of these though, man. The gambler's fallacy. That's like when you flip a coin, you get like four heads in a row, and I say, "Oh, let's bet $100 on this one." What are you going to bet? You're going to think usually that the odds are it's going to be tails finally, but it's the same. It's 50-50 either way.
Hmm.
It doesn't change, but our brains make us think, oh, it's definitely going to be tails this
Right.
time. Way it's going to be five tails heads in a row. You know what I mean? But that's your brain, you know, tricking you into believing that.
Hmm.
Overconfidence effect is one of them. Um, this is this, I'm realizing this more. The more I know about something, I feel like I know less than I did than the things that I don't know a lot about. Like, say, politics. We think we're voting for some candidate. We think we know something about politics. We don't know shit other than what
Mm-mm.
our algorithm lets us see. Confirmation bias. That's another one too, which we block out anything that goes against what we already believe or what our opinion is, and we see all the things that confirm what we think or believe. You know what I mean? But that overconfidence thing, if I'm an expert at something, I know all the nuances in it, and I feel like, man, I don't know that much. There's a lot to this. There's a lot more to know. But if I know a little bit about something, I feel like I know more than most people. I
Mm-hmm.
have a little confidence about it. Well, that's BS. If I were an expert on it, I'd know there's more to it than what I know. You know what I mean? There's just so many of these, man.
It
There's a
is.
ton of them. I could do this all day. There was a bunch of these. You go down a rabbit hole and start looking at these, and you realize like, man, I deal with all these. One of them is the blind spot bias, which is noticing all these issues in everybody else, but not in yourself.
Mm.
Like when you have an argument with somebody, say I'm arguing with my wife, which we almost never do anymore, which is a big part of me changing and her changing and working on ourselves to better ourselves. But if I'm in an argument, I can remember when we would argue, I was certain in my mind that she was twisted and I had it all right and everything I was thinking was right and she's crazy. Like, how are you seeing this way? She was thinking the exact same thing and we're looking at the same situation. But it's our brain saying, you're right. She can't be right. That's crazy. Your brain's going to confirm these things. You know what I mean? It's just trying to make it's mental shortcuts, which trick you into thinking, making bad decisions and staying with bad decisions.
Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. And this is the thing, though. The mind and the body have kind of an exquisite dance and exchange with each other. And the mind works on imagination and illusion, whereas the body works on sensation. So the mind will trick the body into thinking that it needs something just so that the body can experience it and the mind can get the feedback of that experience. For
Mm,
instance, the body drinks alcohol, but the mind gets drunk.
right.
So you lose the mind
Yeah.
in drinking alcohol. And the one thing that I've learned as I've reopened my notes and I've discovered some new things along the way too is that the body is a vehicle. It doesn't need much. All the body really needs is air, because if you go without consciousness, air, you'll pass out and you'll die within like 7 minutes at the most. And then it needs water. You cannot go with water because water is basically liquid oxygen for the organs. So it needs consciousness to live.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need food. You could go probably be about 2 to 3 months without even eating food before you notice a soup. I mean, of course you're going to lose weight, but I'm talking about as far as like your body going through some like I got to go to the doctor. You only need food like once every 2 months. Now that's nothing. Like I ain't Jesus. I ain't doing 40
Mm,
days and all that. No,
mm.
but the point is the point is that the mind will trick the body into thinking that it needs something that it doesn't, whether it's food, sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, work, working out, whatever, all for the explicit sole purpose of it receiving pleasure.
Mm,
That's the mind. The mind is always seeking pleasure and it wants to avoid pain. That's the two functions of the mind. And in its seeking pleasure, it doesn't care what happens to the body. And that's where you get some obese people who are like 600, 700 pounds. They see that their body is falling apart, but the mind doesn't care. It just wants this dopamine hit, keep eating, because the mind wants more. You give it sweet, it wants more sweets. You give it food, it wants more food. You give it an adrenaline rush, it wants more. You give it sex, it wants more. The mind just wants this dopamine hit. So we're not really addicted to the thing. We're addicted to the dopamine hit that the brain gets after we do the thing. Because if the thing didn't give us a dopamine hit, we wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
So when you smoke the cigarette and you're not necessarily addicted to smoking, you're addicted to the feeling after. That
Yeah.
dopamine floods in, that pleasure hormone, and the mind is like, cool. But the problem is that when you are working in an unaware state and you don't know that this is happening, you keep falling further and further and further in a rabbit hole because you don't even know that the mind is doing this to you. It's just seeking pleasure after pleasure after pleasure, and it doesn't care what happens to the body. It wants to avoid pain and seek pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. The big dopamine hit for people is scrolling social media. It's it's instant.
Gratification.
Yeah. Yeah. And they use that against you too. It's always your algorithm is like that confirmation bias. It's showing you the things that confirm what you already believe to be true, especially with politics. If
Yeah.
you if you're left, you're going to see a bunch of left stuff. If you're right, you're going to see a bunch of right stuff or negative stuff against the other. It's and that's it. That dopamine hit you're talking about. That's
Hmm.
oh, hey, yeah, yeah,
But the what's happening with the brain and this dopamine is once again, it's tricking us into thinking that we need the thing. So, food, for instance, when you are unaware and you're not even hungry, but you find yourself eating on chips,
yeah,
you find yourself snacking and you ain't even hungry. It's just that the mind is like, I need more dopamine. I need more dopamine. And this is the thing about dopamine and the mind is that dopamine, when it's released by the body, when you give the mind its way, food, sex, scrolling every day, games, whatever, when you give the mind this dopamine hit, this dopamine floods uh, um, the drug onto neurotransmitters in the mind. Now, when one neurotransmitter is hit, it makes them all kind of light up, and you get this feeling like you got waiting to exhale moment.
yeah,
The thing about these neurotransmitters is that they're very sensitive, and so when they're over flooded with dopamine, they can die. So their only defense mechanism is to down regulate. What down regulate means is that it numbs itself. So it numbs itself, and when the dopamine hits, it doesn't kill it. The problem with this is this: you take the first cigarette, you get the dopamine hit. The neurotransmitters down regulate because you almost killed them. So then you smoke one more cigarette later, but now the neurotransmitters have dulled itself. So the same one cigarette doesn't hit the same way. So guess what? Now you need two. So now you do two cigarettes, then you get extra dopamine. So then the neurotransmitters down regulate again. And now guess what? You're in a continuous rabbit hole of addiction, getting more and more cocaine, more weed, more this, more that. Because every time you give the body pleasure, the body every time you give the mind pleasure and the dopamine is released, the neurotransmitter they're trying to live. So they down regulate, so then it takes more dopamine to get the same effect. This is how addiction, it's not the thing, it's your mind.
yeah.
That's the killer. So when I
Okay.
was going through that fog, my mind was throwing a tantrum like a child. And it was making me have physical um, effects and physical symptoms to something that I really didn't even need. And then once I broke through that, and the body said, we're not, I've hardened the body, and it's like, we're not doing this. And then the mind gave in. Now, instead of being the master, the mind is now the servant.
Hmm.
The mind, if you let the mind go with desire, it will keep going, desire to desire to desire. First, you'll want food, then you'll want cars, then you'll want houses, then you'll want men or women or whatever, the desire to desire, because it's keep searching for this dopamine hit so that it can go, and then when you don't give it his way, it'll inflict pain so that the body says, man, I can't take this, man. I'm hungry. I gotta eat. And then if you haven't hardened your body, then you're going to give in, and then you're going to stay in this same ridiculous cycle.
Yeah. I think especially in this country, we're all addicted to food for sure. We're addicted to television, all of those. The video games, like you said, social media for sure, phones. My God, phones. Everybody's always in their phones. You can't go anywhere and everybody's looking down. Even walking, they're in it. Like you said, you need it more and more and more. And then you get in it and you can't pull yourself away from it. Hardly. I don't even look at social media anymore. Somebody
Yeah.
the other day was telling me, hey, I sent you a message on Messenger. I said, you got my phone number, don't you? Just text me. He's like, well, there's a link. I said, send me the link. I'm not getting on there.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny. So yeah, we're trapped in this endless cycle, and we can't get out. So the key, I guess, is one, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Once you get comfortable being uncomfortable, once the brain does its best, then you'll start to see that you'll need the thing less and less and less because your brain is starting to come down from that dopamine. People need to get out of thinking that they're addicted to the thing. This is why we always tell people the reality is an illusion. The reality is not what you think it is. Reality is illusion because your perception of it is flawed. It's erred. So if you're addicted to cigarettes, if you're addicted to alcohol, if you're addicted to working out, if you're addicted to food, sex, gambling, any of those things, phones, the key is to know that it's not the thing. It's your mind.
Hmm.
Your mind is your biggest enemy. And the biggest trick of the mind is to think that we are our thoughts. That's
Right.
the biggest trick of the mind. This is how we can tell that we're not our thoughts. Try to stop a thought.
Right. Right.
You can't stop your thoughts.
No.
If it was yours, you would be able to stop it. But because we can't stop it, that's proof right there that we are not our thoughts. So the
Wow.
biggest trick of the mind is to think that your thoughts and your beliefs are you. Once you can break from that and have a separation and know that you're not your thoughts and just observe them, then you're a step closer to breaking addiction.
Yeah. And doing things that you don't want to do over
Key.
time, the more you do that, that self-mastery, that's why I started fasting. That's why I go so hard in the gym. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm studying like I am, trying to better myself in this way. It's not that I don't want to do this. It's just making yourself do things that are hard, that takes effort, that takes willpower. You know what I mean? Quitting social media like I have, that's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's You can look this up. I don't know what part of the brain is, but there's a part of your brain that expands when you do things that you don't want to do. You
Mm-hmm.
use that willpower.
Very
It's
true.
where the will is, it expands. And the more you do that, the better you get at that, the stronger your will is. And it takes effort on your part. You got to
It
push
does.
yourself through some stuff, man. It's tough. It is tough because your body and your thoughts are going to tell you that, man, I can't do this. You know what I mean? What am I doing? Like
Mm-hmm.
that first 5 day fast I did, I know I was at day three going into day four, and I'm like, I don't know, am I going to be okay?
The
I'm,
mind.
yeah, I got to go to work. I'm working out. I'm doing all the things I normally do, not extra stuff, just what I normally do. And I'm like, can
Yeah.
you do this? Can you do? Yeah. But it's just an addiction, like you said.
Yeah.
But
And,
doing
and
that more, forcing yourself to do that more, it gets easier. And then other things you realize, man, I don't have to have that. I can do this. I can beat
Mhm.
this. You beat one thing, psh, I I did it with that. I can do it with this.
Absolutely. And the thing
Yeah.
about it is too is that, like I said, the mind doesn't care what happens to your body.
Right.
But if you can defeat the mind and make it a servant, the things that happen to your body is fantastic. Because like I was texting my uncle, and he'll be turning 76
Wow.
on April 7th. So we're shooting this before his birthday. So happy pre-birthday to my uncle. I love you. But he's 76 and he became a vegetarian. He stopped eating meat, not vegetarian. He's not vegan, but he stopped eating meat in his 40s. And he told me he went through the same things where he was foggy, he was fatigued for like the first week, and then he after on the other side of that, he was fine. And he hasn't eaten meat in like 30 something years. And if anybody who knows my uncle, and if you've seen my uncle, man, I'm talking about he may be 76 chronologically, but physically and like the way he looks, he probably looks like he's in his early 50s. He rides his bike for miles. He cuts his own grass. His yard is immaculate. His house is always kept. He's in great shape because he didn't allow the brain to take over and make him eat. He took control of his brain. So you got to realize that in this particular degree, the brain is not your friend, it's
Mm,
your enemy. And so once you defeat the enemy, because the enemy doesn't care about your body, once you start caring and you defeat the enemy and you stop smoking and you stop drinking and you stop doing all these other things, the reward to that is incredible.
yeah. Yeah. And yeah, the fact that he's, still biking and mowing his own lawn and keeping his house clean, that's all physical activity. That's a big part of it too. Him seeming so young. And it's a part of the reason why I'm staying so active. I want to age like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And doing those kind of things.
You have great discipline with your mind and your body and your food. And I had great discipline back in the day. But I was unaware. Now that I'm aware, I'm approaching it from a totally different angle. And instead of it just being a thing that I'm doing to accomplish something like get on stage or do a CrossFit show, now it's something that's just become a lifestyle because like I only planned on doing that OMAD for 2 weeks. And I love it so much that I'm just going to keep it. It's just going to be
Yeah.
something that I do. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to hit one last thing and we'll finish up with your response to it. But the one thing we have to realize is that we are human beings. Now, we are good with the human side of that. We have life experiences, we joy, we have history, we have pain, we have emotions and all these memories and all this other stuff. We forget about the being part.
Mm,
The being is the part that we bury with being human. And because we do that is one of the huge reasons why we do that is because we allow the mind to take over. Once we start to focus less on the mind and the human aspect and more on the being aspect, the being is the infinite consciousness that's in us, the observer, the thing that cannot die. The human side begins to digress a little bit. And what happens with the human side, the being side comes up and starts to blend. So
mm,
then you become a true human being. You start a blend. And what happens is just like darkness. Darkness will always yield to light. So when the being is elevated, the human side will start to digress. And then when you realize the true being and the true nature and all of the tricks that the mind has been playing on you, then a beautiful thing happens. You're still able to experience love, peace, joy, but you're not affected by the suffering. You have the experience, but you lose the attachment. So life is meant to be lived and lived in abundance, but it's not meant to be clung to.
mm.
That's where we go wrong. We want to live and we should live an abundant, beautiful, experienced life, but it shouldn't dominate us so much to the degree where we lose sight of the being. We need to stay human beings. We need to be both sides of it so that we can have a totally complete life. So that then when something goes wrong, it doesn't affect you as bad because you
Yeah.
understand your being. You haven't forgot about your being. It's like you finally realize that you're the sky And the sky has clouds, problems, but the sky is never blemished by the clouds. They just
Hmm.
float by. That's the beautiful thing of becoming a human being is that
Yeah.
you still keep the mind, but the mind is not your master. That's when I started going back into this. I was like, man, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You said something about me being disciplined. That's for sure more the case now that I'm becoming aware of this. You know what I mean? Aware of consciousness, and remembering who I am, knowing who I am. I wasn't doing 5 days fast before. Before I worked out all the time, but it was my ego. It was me vainly wanting to look a certain way. You know what I
Right.
mean? And now it's more than that. This is the temple of God. You know what I mean? And I want to be the best version of me that I can be in every way. And all of that self-mastery, that fasting and that pushing myself through things I don't want to do and giving up social media. I want all those things. You know what I mean? But that's 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 the mind. That's the human part. I don't need that. I don't need any of that because I
Well,
have
you
everything.
do
I have
because we got
everything.
to experience it. Not
Yeah.
not not necessarily all those negative things,
No,
but
no,
you know what I'm
that's
saying.
absolutely not that all social media is bad. YouTube is part of social media.
We're doing it.
I love YouTube. Like and subscribe. I'm just playing. But yeah, man,
No, but for real, like and
yeah.
subscribe, people.
That was fantastic, man. I was wondering where you were going with this. I knew it'd be deep and yeah, it's awesome.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
All right, people, we're gonna end there. Hopefully, you got something out of it. Hopefully, something struck that that resonated and that you needed to hear. That's why we're doing this. We would love to get some feedback from you people and let us know what you think. And until we see you again, 1 degree.